Cześć widzowie, dzień dobry, witam bardzo serdecznie na YouTubie. Słuchajcie, oglądamy trailer nowej gry twórców Wiedźmina. The Blood of Dawnwalker. Po prostu Dawnwalker, bez D.
Hi everyone and welcome to the first
Ty, to będzie
ever
tak
The Blood of
oficjalnie?
Dawnwalker livestream.
A ja
Our
koszuli nie
game
założyłem.
reveal event. My name is Dominika, I'm the community and social media lead here at Rebel Wolves, and I am
Dominika
joined today
burza...
by my friend Matt, a content creator, streamer, and a long-time RPG fan, also known as Lionheart.
Thank you so
Dominika jest
much, Dominika.
jakkolwiek
It is an
połączona
absolute
z Pawłem
pleasure to
Burzą.
be here live in the Rebel Wolf studio. The game's actually being made here, right?
Yes, we have 120 super talented people
Jeden z
working on the
głównych
game,
chyba
and
community
many of
managerów
them are
albo
actually
leadów
watching us
w
right now
Wiedźminie. To był
live from
Paweł
our
Burza.
company watch party.
Ciekawy jestem,
So
czy są
huge
połączeni.
shout out to you guys.
Hey, you can't blame them for being excited. I mean, this is a massive, massive night for the Rebel Wolves team. And for it to come under a full
Dobrą ma zajebistą ma
I think it's the
marynarę.
perfect time
No.
for this reveal.
Yes, and we are so excited to see all of you guys and gals joining us on Twitch. We know time zones are tricky.
Tak,
so a
120
special thank
osób
you to
robi
those of
gierkę,
you
też
who
to
had to
czytałem.
get up early or those staying up
I
late
uważają, że ta
just
gra
to
będzie
be
triple
here.
AM.
We
Mają
really appreciate it.
dofinansowanie
Yes, and a
z...
very warm welcome as well to all of the streamers who've decided to
O Jezu,
co-stream this
zapomniałem.
event live to their own communities. I can't wait to see all of your reactions later on.
Mają
Definitely.
dofinansowanie
Now,
od,
many
pamięta
of you have
ktoś?
been asking us about what's been going on behind our doors, and we have great news. The
Sprawdzałem
wait
to
is
dzisiaj,
finally over,
zapomniałem.
and we are ready to unveil what we have been cooking up for the past 2 years.
Yes, that's right. There are so many exciting announcements to come through the rest of this event, so I really hope you're comfortable. Now, Dominika, I
Ej,
think we
ja
should
muszę
probably
zobaczyć, wiecie,
start at
tylko
the very
ten,
beginning.
z ciekawości.
What is the Blood of Dawnwalker?
The Blood of Dawnwalker is the first chapter of a brand new role-playing saga.
26
It's a
000 osób
dark
to ogląda,
fantasy,
okej, niedużo.
narrative-driven
Czemu mnie nie
adventure
ma?
set in medieval Europe with a supernatural twist.
Nie, dobra,
Our
jestem.
aim for this game is to create a truly unique experience
No,
for
widzowie,
you guys.
trzecim
A game
streamerem
that
jestem
we have been
reklamującym
dreaming
to.
about.
That sounds like my kind of game, I'm going to be honest. There are so many things to come tonight, and I know everyone here is really excited to share this all for the very first
Nie,
time.
stawka
But
rośnie chyba, no.
for
Dobrze
everyone at
mówisz,
home,
Boryso.
you're probably wondering, well,
Będzie
what does that
wysyłana
mean for
faktura.
us? Well, you're going to hear more about the world, more about the lore, and for the very first time, you're going to see the full CGI trailer for the game as well. But it's not just any trailer, right?
It's not just some random trailer. It is actually the game's opening, setting up the stage
Aha,
for
opening
the whole
gierki.
game. It shows this one moment in history
Ciekawe,
when
czy on
the
zostanie
world
zmieniony.
changes forever.
Wow. I can't wait to see how well the community does, poring over every second of this trailer. In the reveal campaign so far, they've been incredible.
Oh yes, tell me about it. Discord, you guys are mind-blowing.
The Discord have been incredible, but soon we're going to throw it over to a bunch of the devs, and you're going to dive further into the world of Dawnwalker. You're going to learn more about the characters, the lore,
Lepiej
and
się
the
prezentują
art.
niż pleby z
Then
Blizzarda,
we're
oj
going to weave
tak.
in a few songs as well that should really help set the mood for the game itself. I've been listening to them non-stop, and they are incredible, right? Lastly, make sure you stick around all the way through, because we also have a very brief but very real gameplay teaser as well.
Yes, and it is an actual look at the state of the game as it is right now, straight from the engine. And in the meantime, we will be checking up on your comments, so make sure to drop all your thoughts or your impressions in the chat. My teammates, MJ and Mati, are already there with you, and we'll respond whenever we can. And this is it for now.
Yes, that's it for now.
Let's get into the mood with some music, and let's hear from our game director, Konrad Tomaszkiewicz, and our narrative director, Jakub Szamałek, who will tell you about how it all began.
That's right, friends. The time has finally come. Sit back, relax, and get ready to experience the world created by Rebel Wolves.
To jest silnikowe. To jest silnikowe? Nie no, kurwa, to nie jest silnikowe. To jest live action. Mówili, że to będzie CGI. No właśnie, CGI to jest... Computer Generated Image. A to jest... Live trailer. Aha, mówili, dobra, gadają o czymś innym. To jest polski zamek? Muzyczka fajna. Jaka muza dostanie w mieście, nie? Do tradowania. Town OST. Z 50k na Twitchu? Co ty gadasz? Jest, no. 50 000 to ogląda. Nice. Ale to ma duże zainteresowanie w Polsce w sumie, nie? Patrzcie, 15 000 pierwszy stream, 2 streamerów zagranicznych 8, 6 i potem 3 polskich od razu, 4 polskich, 5 polskich. Ja pierdolę, jaka grafa dojebana! Stary, to tak wygląda? Kurwa mać!
Do you remember the second Fallout
To
from
chyba...
98?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite games ever.
Chłopie,
and I was so
jak oni
excited
się
when you
naturalnie
use that as a
kurwa
point of reference,
poruszają. Patrzcie
because
na mimikę.
For some time now, I've been aching to return to the promise and the value of old school computer RPGs, and to combine it with modern graphics, with bleeding edge tech, with a dynamic, fast-paced combat, merge these two together and see what comes out.
Exactly. And of course, we will not do the post-apocalyptic game. But what was really interesting in the
A
second
włosy to mu
Fallout
chyba dla
is
mema
the
pomalowali, nie?
freedom.
Na Geralta.
You could do there whatever
Chłopy
you
się
want.
zwolnili
In the vault,
z CD-ów i mówią, dawaj chuj do trailera, włosy na biało się pomalujemy. Gdzie beka.
Next do that. You just like, you know, shape your own main story and you build your own experience. And this is like the total freedom in the games.
Yeah, and as a writer, this is something that excites me about the games the most. The choices, the freedom, non-linearities, and I think this is something that's truly unique to video games. Like, you can't emulate that in any other medium. So I'm so glad that we are making a game that sets out to explore that space and see what else, what new is to be done there. So that's great.
Also, if you will add to that the sense of urgency, the time, which actually is not really explored in the video games, and day and night.
Tryb dnia i nocy!
It would be really
Ja
interesting
pierdolę, nie, no to
because it
10
will
na 10,
make the game
kurwa!
different.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Stary, jeszcze nie widzieliśmy, jak już wiemy, że będzie tryb dnia i nocy.
And the context of open world RPGs where players can become distracted and kind of get
No
away
nie,
from
to
the
już
main
wiemy,
story.
że jest gra
So
taka.
finding a way to make sure that they remain invested, that they remain at the edge of their seats is so important, and I think it's something that's lacking from the games in that niche.
And if you will add to that the hero, who have the different loop at day and different loop at the night,
Będzie
It makes
inny
the
typ
game
gameplayu
really-
w trakcie dnia i nocy. Już wiem, na co będą ludzie płakać. Oj, kurwa. Jeżeli gra będzie cię zmuszała do tego, żeby robić za dnia i w nocy inne misje, to ludzie będą na to płakać. 100%. Dobra, trailerek wlatuje. To widzieliśmy, to był teaser. Przedłużony będzie. Muszę się tej zbroi potem przyjrzeć.
It's all right.
Lunka! Don't hurt her! You gave us quite the chase, young.
Please, sir. She's just a child.
Roderick, remind me, did I make an exception for children?
No, sire.
No. That would have been foolish, would it not? They spread the plague just as well as adults. And there's only one way to stamp out.
Polowanie na czarownicę takie będzie, zajebiście.
No! Not just a runner, but a fighter, too. Had we met under a different moon, things might have ended there.
Lunka.
Ale zajebiste ryciny na ścianach.
She needs help. Fast. Please, let us pass through. I beg of you. Please. Please. I don't know. How?
I am life. I am death. I am everything in between. I have been watching your little valley. Pestilence.
Każdy ma zbroję inną.
Killing. Blood spilled carelessly like water. Things will be different now. For all of you.
Kurwa, zajebisty ten trailer. Ty, ten trailer jest naprawdę zajebisty.
So the game takes place 2 years after the events shown in the intro, and this is just the beginning of a greater saga we were planning. So we get to meet the character at the beginning of his adventure, which I think is really cool. And Cohen in general
Jezu, ale
is
to
so
był
much
tak
fun to
paskudny
write and
color
flesh out
grading.
because he's not your typical
Ja kurwa
villain
nienawidzę
protagonist.
tego
He's not a
niebieskiego color
grizzled
gradingu.
veteran who's seen it all,
Wszystko co
who
białe staje się
is,
kurwa niebieskie.
cynical about the world, who comments the world with like one-liners.
Tak modne teraz.
He's a young guy who at heart is emotional, he can get vulnerable, he's honest about how he feels.
Mogli to pomalować faktycznie bardziej w klimat gry.
He'll be never overpowered. At the day, as a human, he can fight with a sword.
Ten color
He
grading
can
jest
use and
paskudny.
discover dark magic, but he can be killed by anyone. At the night, he encountered a lot more difficult enemies. He can use some vampiric abilities, not only in combat, but also he can use it to explore the world and to see the world in a totally different way.
Yeah, and
Umbral.
he'll need all these cool superpowers because he's facing formidable enemies. This clique of vampires who decide
Nie
to
mogę
take over the
zapauzować i
world,
tego
turn
odwrócić,
it
bo to
upside
już
down
jest
and set
niebieskie
the
u
rules.
mnie. Ja nie jestem
And
w
they are
stanie
led
tego
by this
odwrócić.
super
Jak miałbym
old,
raw
immensely
image, to byłbym w
powerful
stanie to
vampire
inaczej
called
color
Francis.
gradingować. A tu
Our
nie
game is
mogę,
set in
bo już ma
14th
to
century
konkretny
Europe,
kolor
and it's a
narzucony.
world in deep crisis. First, the continent has been ravaged by the plague, then wars, and now famine. And all the while, vampires have been watching from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And finally, when humanity is at its lowest, they come out of the shadows, they overthrow the feudal lords, and they move into their castles.
Vampires ruling the
zajebisty
world is
zamek.
not necessarily the bad thing. Feudal lords in that time killed the whole villages to prevent, the plague. And the vampires, they defend Cohen and his sister. They even healed Lunka. And, I know that people need to pay taxes in blood, but it's not a huge cost of safe and good life.
Well, to
Dobrze
that I say
gada.
that vampires' favors are uncertain. And sure, they protect the people of the valley where the game takes place, but they see them as cattle, so they protect them to then lead them and ultimately kill them. And the blood tax you mentioned, it's taken from everyone, the frail, the weak,
Ale co
the
ty,
old.
Polaku,
Each
pierdolisz
week they
ten
have to
akcent
convene at the church for
Pol
blood
English?
mass. So for some
Akcent
people,
jest
that's deeply
naturalną
traumatizing
rzeczą,
or
którą
might even end
zdobywasz,
up in them
wychowując się kurwa na danym
So in the end, I'd
regionie.
say the balance is more or less equal.
I
And
musisz
that's something that
dosłownie
I
być
actually
stary
really like about our
filologiem,
setting in
kurwa,
this world,
językoznawcą,
that nothing
żeby
is simple, nothing
nauczyć
is just black
zmiany
or
się,
just
kurwa,
white.
zmiany
And you
układu
have to decide for
języka w
yourself,
trakcie
like,
wypowiadania
what do I think is the
konkretnych
right choice,
sylab,
what is the path I want to
by
take,
pozbyć
and
się
what is the path I
akcentu.
want to avoid. And
Tak jak od Polaka
ultimately,
poczujesz
Cohen's
lekki
family
polski
ends up
akcent, tak
in
samo od
the
kolesia z
dungeons of the
Teksasu
Vampire
poczujesz
Lord.
teksański
And
akcent,
even as
tak?
Cohen
Od
is
kogoś z
trying to
LA
free them,
poczujesz
he will meet people
też
who still support the
LA-owski
regime.
akcent.
It's even more challenging
Pierwsi jesteście, kurwa, do dopierdolenia się. O, kurwa, zobacz, gada z polskim akcentem. Z jakim ma, kurwa, gadasz, jak jest Polakiem? Co, ma z niemieckim gadać? Ludzie ze Szwecji też będą miały pewne naleciałości. Nie wiem, wypierdolnięci czasem jesteście z tym akcentem. Kolesie normalnie gadają po prawnym angielskim dobrze.
Native sandbox.
Yeah, and that's something that really excites me because that means that no two playthroughs will be identical.
To jest najbardziej wyczuwalne akurat w polskim akcencie. To jest ten fakt, że Polacy intonują słowa w polski sposób w języku angielskim, a stres to jest intonacja, nie? Po angielsku zawsze to mylę. Intonacja w języku angielskim jest zależna od po prostu wyrazu. To jest największa różnica. Tym jest najłatwiej sfejkować akcent.
I know, right? And for our Polish community out there, good news, we will be dropping the Polish version of the trailer.
O, polski
with Polish
trailer, zaraz
dubbing
oglądamy.
on our social media channels right after the stream, so keep an eye on them.
I think a lot of people are going to want to rewatch that trailer, so I bet that they're really, really happy. But we've got a lot to unpack here, right? So you mentioned before that the trailer actually serves as the intro to the game.
Yeah.
So everything that we all just saw, that happens before the game starts?
Yeah, so the cinematic that takes place 2 years before the events from the game. So 2 years before Cohen, our main protagonist, becomes a Dawnwalker.
Okay.
So you can see that in the CGI, he's still very young, he's very, inexperienced. You see that innocence in him, right? But that will need to change. The world is going to change drastically for him. He will need to grow up. He'll need to mature a bit. So you will see that in the other game assets, he looks a bit differently.
I did wonder why he looked so much younger. Clearly, Cohen has had a rough couple of years. I can't wait to work out what happened in between. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, but we didn't just meet Cohen, right? We met his younger sister, Lunka, as well. But in the video we just saw, Conrad mentioned that she was healed. So does that mean she wasn't turned into a vampire then?
No, Lunka was indeed healed from the plague, the Black Death, by Brancis, this old vampire, leader of the vampire clique. And turning humans into vampires works a bit differently in our game. But we actually have another duo of devs who are going to talk about it in a moment.
Okay, well then I won't steal their thunder. I'll let them explain it. But I guess what I should ask is,
Czyli budują grę od wytworzenia lora i konkretnego sposobu działania tego świata. To dobrze świadczy.
So many layers to it, honestly. Okay, but so the basic premise is like this. Dawnwalkers look like humans during the day, but they turn into vampires after dusk. But they're not actually humans and they're not actually vampires. They are something in between.
Okay, very mysterious. I love it. Now, Dawnwalker itself, it's a brand new IP, right?
Yeah, it is. It is completely original. And I think this is what actually makes this project really special for us. Because it's a handcrafted universe, of course, rooted in real history, inspired by some myths and legends, but essentially built by our team from the ground up.
From a gamer perspective, again,
Oni zajebiście teraz w premierę Nosferatu się wstrzelają, moim zdaniem.
And that you can actually implement that. It's just so exciting.
It's so exciting for us as well.
Yeah,
you know?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Now, I could talk about this all day, but we should move on and talk about the art of Dawnwalker.
Ale Blade był hybrydą sam z siebie, jeszcze jakąś taką bardziej skomplikowaną, nie? A nie wszystkie chyba wampiry w Blade'zie były hybrydami. Niektóre tylko były. Bo Blade był hybrydą.
Yes, and for that we will meet with our writer, Ariana Sierkiewicz, and our creative director, Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz.
Ale były też inne wampiry, które też były hybrydami. Ale nie każdy był hybrydą, nie?
Man, look at this place. That would be perfect for the writing team.
Not just for them. I love storytelling myself. Since I can remember, telling stories through images is what I love to do.
Yeah.
So when I received the first script for the Dawnwalker, I fell in love with it right away.
I think for me, what got me was the concept art when I first saw those carpathian villages hugging the mountain slopes, the valleys, forests,
tak paskudnie,
and then also the muddy
pomalowany.
streets of Spartrau and the long shadow of the cathedral.
To zajebiście to wygląda.
Very authentic, muddy, and also very familiar, homely, and well, Eastern European.
Not just Eastern Europe.
No, yeah.
It's a mix of predominantly Romanian motifs with broader influences.
Rumuńskie motywy, o!
It gave us a freedom of creation. It's a vast range of inspiration from Polish log houses to Ukrainian or Balkan clothing to Romanian defensive churches.
That variety in that broad spectrum was also interesting to get because I never thought as an environment artist I would have to learn in Romanian.
Ja teraz powinienem nagrać materiał okiem eksperta.
On the other hand, we also set a boundary for ourselves, and that boundary is a time period of inspiration ranging from the 13th to 15th century. And this is meant to ensure the visual consistency of the world.
Yeah, and that is also quite a challenge to make sure that what you create is authentic, grounded, and has a real sense of place, but at the same time isn't just a picture and invites exploration and promotes that gameplay.
I wanted to see how far we could push realism so that players truly feel part of the narrative. But this is not a simulation of medieval life.
Not at all.
Realism can be boring, and we wanted to create something exciting. And that's where the magic comes in.
Yes, the magic.
Our magic isn't filled with fireballs or flashy lights.
Yeah, it's probably even more interesting to get right than the realism part of it, because when a quest brief comes through and the magic is manifest by, I don't know, birds flying in the sky in a strange formation or the northern lights not being in the north, it really makes you rethink the whole location and how it should come together to marry those two aspects.
Our magic is also serious and it's closer to paranormal phenomena than to traditional spellcasting. It's like the X-Files set in the Middle Ages.
O, to
or
ciekawe
deeply
w
rooted
sumie.
in the history of the Dawnwalker world.
Yeah, and I
nie
think
będzie
it's
żadnych
the
jakichś
weather and the
takich
lighting system that do
high
the majority of
fantasy
the heavy lifting
elementów, tylko
to take a location and really push it one notch above realism
dystorsje
to
takie się
give
będą
it a
pojawiały w
slightly
świecie.
off feeling. I think my favorite location for that is the cathedral. During the daytime, it's that monument to Gothic architecture with people bustling around.
Zajebiste.
And then as soon as the sun starts setting in and the streets clear, the fog starts setting in, and it becomes a completely transformed, different area, very spooky, almost liminal cemetery-like space.
And that was also a very early and conscious choice on our part. We wanted the world to be a different place after the sun sets.
To będzie coś, wiecie, na
so
takiej zasadzie, jak
hold on.
mamy
Environment as is something I
w
understand,
Bloodborne,
right?
tak
I
mi
do it
się
every
wydaje,
day,
bo w
I understand
Bloodborne
the
to
creative process
oświetlenie jest
behind it,
związane
but I've never
z
touched anything
fazą
to do with character art, which is
księżyca, ma
your
bardzo duży
speciality.
wpływ na to, jak wyglądają te
Would you mind
lokacje.
walking me through what was your creative process in coming up with that whole thing?
Sure. So we approached the work on vampires very seriously. It's a whole new universe. What's even better is that it's a mix of familiar elements with a fresh twist. We all know that vampires are well defined in pop culture and have been around for a long time. So we wanted to create something fresh. So what primarily sets them apart is their teeth. Our vampire teeth keep growing throughout their lives. The older the vampire, the more teeth they have. So instead of two sharp teeth, they have a series of needle-like fangs. Densely
Zajebisty
growing from their
koncept.
jaws, often emerging from different parts of their skull as they age. The teeth keep growing because the vampire can use them to create another vampire. And the mechanism
Jak
is very
baraka.
simple. The vampire pulls out his fang and drives it into the heart of its victim.
Lovely.
So what's interesting is that our vampire's teeth aren't visible at first. They can extend as the mouth opens, and it looks really creepy.
Yeah, I still remember the first time that the animations came through from the character art team, showing the mouth opening and the teeth growing, and it was absolutely disgusting. I loved every bit of it.
So Cohen's Argeria, the silver poisoning he got when he was working in the mines, is both a blessing
Nie,
and a
oni
curse.
wszyscy cosplaye
Because
zrobili.
on one hand, it
Teraz
weakens
Siri.
him. On the other hand, it protects him from becoming a vampire fully. So, he gets to traverse both worlds, both the world of humanity and the world of the creatures of the night.
Yeah, well, he was kind of used to dealing with the vampires since it's been like a couple years since Francis took over. Now he has to find a way to deal with things like undead lurking in ancient tombs that should have remained closed. Kobolds that
Patrzcie, jest
used to
fresków na
only
ścianach
prey on
takich rzeczy,
miners
nie?
going way too deep into the mines, or even Uriashes, who used to live high up in the mountains, secluded, and now they are in Francis's troops.
Yeah,
Bardzo jest duża
they are
różnorodność w
vastly
tych
different.
koncept artach.
Oh yeah, they all have their own separate cultures, and well, if you want to deal with them, I would kind of like to you should get to know them a bit, or else you might get tricked, because they all have their own goals, aspirations, now that they came out of the shadows in Francis's wake.
It's a source of a lot of tension, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of tension. Some of them can cooperate with humans, but mostly it's just new issues, new problems nobody had to deal with before.
But I think this is great because all of that tension, all of these problems are great storytelling material for us, for
Yes.
building all of that content. For example, Francis, he had to normalize this thing for the humanity, convince everyone this is the new normal.
Yeah.
And the way he did this was, first of all, there was a lot of social turmoil. And on the other hand, a lot of deeply held religious beliefs. And he twisted them. He turned himself into this messianic figure. So, for example, he introduced these blood masses where he feeds a human vampire god, right? And at the same time, they have these other things like punishing criminals with draining them dry.
Yeah, but well, some people actually liked it because once Francis came in, he set up a new order of things. He finally got down to business, and then he locked the valley off so that nobody can touch it. No outside influence can touch it. And well, some others did not like it so much, and they began to reach into the depths of forgotten magic, occult, stuff like that.
Yeah, so either way you look at it, the Vale Sangora will never be the same again.
Not a chance.
Mieli pokazane zaimki, jak przedstawiają tych
That
ludzi,
is a
czy
lot
nie?
of world building, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many things we need to remember to make this into a cohesive whole. And at the same time, you have the challenges posed by the open world itself. Because, there's a risk of the content
No
being
to trzeba
formulaic
skancelować,
or
no nie jest
repetitive.
woke, kurwa,
We
gra.
handcraft all of it.
Niestety.
And we focus on telling these unique themes we really care about.
Oh yeah, we want
To
to
nie-
talk
nie wiem, czy
about
zagram,
loss,
nie mogę
about
się nie
meaning of
identyfikować,
family, about
niestety.
opposing tyranny, about trying to coexist with creatures you've never had to coexist with before.
Well, but that would be difficult to do with just Coin and Brensis, right?
Impossible, actually. We had to create a whole host of characters, and we really wanted to avoid having cardboard cutouts, like without motivations, without backgrounds, goals, and ambitions. But,
Yeah.
When you meet those characters, your goals and ambitions may overlap, and you befriend them, or it may be the opposite, and you go on a warpath with them. But, given the goal that you have ahead of you, it might be good to have some friends to go along with.
Well, but you could go on your own, right? If you wanted.
Well, yeah, you could just grab a sword and go storm the castle.
Yeah.
But it might be wise to, for instance, find the rebel cell and try to dismantle Brensis' rule with them. Or, I don't know, listen to what an agent from outside of Vale Sangora has to say.
Which is exactly why I love how we structured the game, because we offer a lot of choice in which characters do you want to interact with, which you might want to
Jezu,
skip
ja bym chciał
altogether.
naprawdę
And
zobaczyć
also on top
chociaż
of that, you have this layer
jeden
of
in-game screenshot. Tak, jestem
non-linearities,
ciekawy.
where you can decide their fates, but also the fate of Cohen and his family.
Yeah, and I really like that because it gives us so much replayability. You can always choose a different path. There's something else waiting there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And also on top of that, you get to find all
Bardzo
these
dużo
secrets
gadają
of
o tym, że jest
and,
wysokie
fill all the
replayability
blanks and,
i że jest
explore the
kilka
world.
różnych ścieżek.
Yet another path.
Mega
might be
dużo o
lurking
tym
within
mówią.
that.
Handcrafted
Twórcy
content is
Wiedźmina,
all
tak
good
jakby
and
byli
well,
świadomi, co
but
jest
on
nie
top
tak
of
z
that, we also have a
Wiedźminem.
number of really cool gameplay systems that further feed into the narrative.
Yeah, and speaking of feeding, my favorite one is the blood hunger. It lets me play a real vampire. I don't just have to drink blood to use my cool abilities in combat,
Yeah.
but if I talk to someone without feeding first, I might just lose control and I might eat them. And it's not going to be just any random peasant that I won't care about. I can eat my best friend. And I will break my heart. And I will break my quest.
Yeah, so you better
Kurwa,
keep him
możesz
well
NPC
fed.
przez przypadek zajebać?
Do you have a faith?
Yeah, I really enjoy the ones that are revolving around Brensis, because it makes him this active antagonist. This means that he will basically react to what Cohen is doing. He will pass these edicts that will hinder your path. So, for example, he might set up military checkpoints that will be on your way.
That changes the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's not just him running the show. It's also his 3 powerful vampire allies.
Yeah, when I saw them in CGI, that was such a hype moment. Finally animated, voiced, and just loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
No
and
to,
on top of
kurwa,
being
to jest
cool
dobry
characters,
trailer dali, sery
they
trailer.
also have their own,
Naprawdę giga
spheres of
dobry.
influence, and you get to dismantle their organization step by step, making it simpler for you to confront Brensis and free your family.
Well, when it comes to freeing your family, there's one more antagonist. That is time itself. Because every time you do something important in the game, when you complete an objective or you
Co ty
complete a
gadasz?
quest, time moves forward.
Yeah, but what I really like about this also is it's not like real time.
Kurwa, myślałem,
You
że
actually
powiesz,
get
że
to
jak czas
control
płynie, to
how
możesz
much of
zjebać
this resource
questa.
you want to spend, right?
Yeah, you have to manage it wisely, but if you just want to enjoy the view or just take a stroll, you can without stress. But once you get down to business, you have to do it smart.
Yeah, so I think all of these things combined, handmade quests
Kurwa,
and
to ciekawe.
gameplay systems, create for this really fun,
Powiedzcie,
unique
że jeszcze to
experience.
Souls-like
You
będzie.
know, I cannot wait to see what shenanigans players will get up
W Kingdom
to.
Come
with
tak
those
jest, no, że jak
systems.
zaczniesz
I
questa,
will
to
be
już
there
musisz
watching
nim
it.
lecieć.
Same.
Możesz eksplorować, ale quest to quest. Jak jesteś w
As you can
trakcie akcji.
imagine, last 2 years were really intense for us. I want to thank the whole Rebels pack. You are the best, and it's a privilege to work with you. The Blood of Dawnwalker is a very special game for us because it's first truly ours. What you have seen so far is only the beginning. In upcoming months, we will share more with you. But for now, I have one more surprise for you.
Coming next gameplay? Gameplay glimpse! Kurwa, pokażą gameplay! O chuj! Dobra. Kurwa! Dobra, będzie najważniejsze. Gadać co można, chcę gameplay zobaczyć. Będzie mięso. Nie no, muzyczka jest zajebista. Kurwa, porządna muzyczka, dobry klimacik, nie trąci taniochą, nie? Nie daje ci wrażenia, jakby była kupiona z Fivera. No problem jest taki, że każdy to będzie do Wiedźmina porównywał, no bo w Wiedźminie jest słowiańska muzyka. Jak tutaj dasz słowiańską muzykę, to każdy powie, o kurwa, muzyka jak w Wiedźminie. To raczej będzie ich ogromną stygmą, tak mi się wydaje, ale no co kurwa, możesz zmienić sposób grania ludowej muzyki, by nie była ludowa? Właśnie, kurwa, czy to nie... Dobrze piszesz, widzu, czy to nie jest największym plusem, bo wcale, kurwa, nie jest ciężko zrobić grę lepszą od Wiedźmina? Oho! Jest lej! Banana Taiga! Banana Taiga! Banana Taiga! Pozwoliłem do siebie dołożyć trochę. Dobra, gameplay glimpse, dawaj. Zaraz będziemy godzinę to analizować. Bossowie! Kurwa, bossowie. Kurwa, dobra, mamy Souls-like'a, stary. No jessa.
And we are back. And wow, do we have a lot to talk about. But first things first, some of those concept arts, I need them as wallpapers like yesterday if you can.
That's okay, I got you covered, no worries.
Well, one of the big things that
really
really matters in this game is that time matters. You're only going to have 30 days to make all of your decisions.
Well, it is actually 30 days and 30 nights. So as Cohen, your objective is to save your family. But how you do it, when you do it, and if you actually do it at all, it all depends on you and your decisions.
Co ty gadasz?
Now, the astute amongst you watching at home will
Że
probably
gra będzie
just
miała
click
limit
that
czasowy.
That is why there was a 30-day and 30-night countdown prior to the stream going live today, just those little bits of detail, all
Słuchajcie,
of the
to
tie-ins,
był
the full
kurwa
wolf moon. I
alarm,
love
bo
it.
już
Makes me
jest
so excited to see
trzask
what's
dupy na
coming.
Twitterze, że gra nie jest inkluzywna.
Decisions are gonna matter in the game. Like, I don't
Nie było
I can't do
zaimków
everything, right?
słowiańskich,
It's
że
just
nie
not
było
gonna be possible.
nikogo
And
pochodzącego
not
z
just that,
Europy.
it's the start of a whole saga. It's not just this
No i
game.
nie wiadomo
It
było,
is-
jaką
it is
mieli
an
tożsamość
adventure
seksualną. Nie było to
through the
zaznaczone
ages
w
where you walk
trailerze.
the line between
Więc już są
our
pierwsze
world
posty
and
pisane. To był
secret dark
alarm.
underbelly. And of course, while
Potrwało
you will
to
get a
mniej niż
complete,
godzinę.
satisfying story
Kurwa,
in this
to prawda,
first
był
installment,
faktycznie z
there will
Azji,
be so
wampir.
much more to unfold in the future titles.
It just sounds incredible.
To był woke alert, no.
Honestly, it's a game I can't wait to play myself. And having got to see that sneak peek, even now, it looks so beautiful. It's in Unreal Engine 5, right?
Yes, it is in the Unreal Engine 5 technology. You know, we filled it to the brim with cinematic dialogues and cutscenes. And since we are talking about the tech stuff, I do want to mention one more thing, which is the third-person perspective. You could already see, and yes, the game will be in the third-person perspective, to give you that classic action RPG feel, where you are really dropped into the middle of action.
That's exactly how
I
an
będziesz
RPG
grał
should
postacią, co
be.
jest
And
świeżo
one of the things
ukończona
that I
przez
learned
wampira. I uczysz się
about the
wszystkich
game,
wampirycznych rzeczy.
Speaking of classic RPGs, the Blood of Dawnwalker will have no microtransactions. It will have no live service elements. There are going to be no NFTs or any of that stuff. It's just going to be a pure single-player experience, the kind of game
A będzie early
that an
access?
RPG should be.
That's right, that's right.
Wow. Now, we did promise earlier that we'd keep our eyes on the questions coming in, so I will ask the big one. Dominika, do we have a release date?
Oh, I knew that would happen at some point. Okay. Well, about the release date, we are not quite ready to announce it just yet, but don't worry. Once we are confident about this, we will let you know, and we will definitely let all of you guys know as well. But in the meantime, join our official social media channels. We will be posting a lot in the upcoming months and giving you even more insight into the universe of Dawnwalker.
Yes, and if you just can't wait for more Dawnwalker content, check out the upcoming issue of PC Gamer as well. It's just a few weeks away and you're going to hear more about the world and the lore of Dawnwalker in there, so make sure that you don't miss it. But with that, we have reached the end of everything we are here to share with you tonight. It has been an absolute privilege to be a part of this.
Oh, thank you so much, Lionheart. Thank you so much to all of you watching us today. We're
Tak,
so
Bandai
happy
Namco
that
ich
we could
wydaje.
finally share all these cool things we have been working on with you. And we will meet again this summer to talk more about the Blood of Dawnwalker, this time focusing on the gameplay features and unveiling how it actually plays. Until then,
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everyone. Stay safe, and we will see you soon.
bye.
Bye.
Ej, dobra. Kurde, podsumowując. Powiedzieli, że chcą grę z dużym replayability. Powiedzieli, że czas będzie kluczowy i jak zaczniesz jakiegoś questa, to nie będziesz mógł sobie pójść eksplorować, czyli chcą wyeliminować jeden z najważniejszych problemów Wiedźmina, tak naprawdę. Powiedzieli, że w ogóle limit gry będzie limitem czasowym. Będziesz miał 30 dni i 30 nocy. Obstawiam, że będzie tego bardzo dużo, ale nadal będzie narzucało to na gracze pewien stres. Że nie zbierasz questy, a działasz. Kurwa, nawet na to nie zwróciłem uwagi. To też brzmi bardzo dobrze. Tryb dnia i nocy. Walki z bossami, miejscista walka. Muszę ten trailer, muszę ten gameplay jeszcze zobaczyć jeszcze raz. Gameplay reveal będzie latem, okej.